One of the Zois Chanukah, terrific story told about the Rebbe Rashab. It was on Simchas Torah, and he turned to one of the Chassidim. His name was Reb Psachya.
Psachya?
Psachya.
Oh, Psachya.
Yeah. Petach, open up. So, Reb Psachya, describe your schedule in the winter. Winter. He was a lumber merchant. So I go down with my workers, chop down the trees, and he brings it down to the warehouses. They saw it down, and they supply lumber. He's a lumber man. He said, Chanukah, what do you do? He said, what do I do Chanukah? Every day. Workers go home. I go home too. Chanukah, I let them off a little earlier. I go home, and I daven mincha, go home, light the menorah, daven ma'ariv. Rabbi Rashab said, not a good idea. You go out in the morning, take candles with you, just in case. So comes Chanukah, and the first day of Chanukah, Reb Psachya is about to go out to the forest, and he has his Yiddish meshamish, his right-hand man. He says, Psachya, remember, the Rebbe told you Simchas Torah? He says, oh, yeah, you're right. He goes, he takes the candles and puts them in his pocket, and they go out. You have a lot of workers. You know, it's New Year's. Bald is New Year's, or Yotzmach, and they need a little extra cash.
It was the last day of
I don't know, it was the last of the first, one of the days of Chanukah. And they figured, some of the workers figured that they're going to ambush their boss. The boss got to have cash in his pocket. So when they finished the work and they sent the workers home, and they thought the workers left, and Psach and his man went back home, they were ambushed. We want your money. So he opened his pockets, he gave them all his money. We have to kill you. Yeah, you're going to go back, you're going to report us. A goy will kill, that's like they say, a benoyach is nereg al pochas mishem apruta. A goy could kill like you have here in New York, you know, for a couple of dollars they kill.
A pair of shoes. Nike shoes. Can I have one of these things?
What should they do? The Yidden said, let's daven mincha. They said, please let us daven mincha. They let us daven mincha. Now, how long can you daven mincha? So they daven mincha and they go and say, no, we can kill you already. They said one more thing. They want to light the menorah. They said, before you kill us, I'll light them. Okay, so they let them. Psachya took out the candles. And the menorah he didn't need. There was plenty of snow. He stuck the candles in the snow. And he lit the menorah. He made the bracha with a lot of kavanah. And punkt to his mazel, the poritz, these forests belonged to someone. And there was a landowner, a poritz. And Poritz is bored in the winter. What should he do all day? Not a very hard worker. Hunting. Oh, so he had a party. It's a changishik. It said, "No, fellas, what are you going to do now?" Go hunting. He was in a mood of hunting. So his friends all jumped up the horses, and they went out with their guns and they're going hunting. He sees a fire in a forest. I mean, that's not a good thing. That's danger. That's his business. He's renting out the lumber to Psachya, the Jew who pays him good top dollar for the lumber. So they go galloping towards the fire, and they see there's candles. 2 Jews are tied up, and a whole bunch of people standing with knives. They jump off the horses. They capture the hooligans. They tie them up. They deliver them to the nearest police station, and they untied Psachya and his man. He understood why the Rebbe Rashab told them it was a good idea to take candles with him. Today is Zois Chanukah, and from Zois Chanukah we're going into the rest of the winter. There's a beautiful message here in the Chumash of this week's parsha. After Yosef reveals himself to his brothers, there's so much excitement. And he tells them to go back to Eretz Yisrael and bring back their father. And he sends a beautiful gift for all of them, and he gives to Binyamin 5 times as much, and the father, he gives him 10 chamodim, or the amount of 10 chamodim, and the 10 asoinas for food and drink and bread for the way. And he sent his brothers back to Eretz Yisrael, and they went. He says to his brothers, Al tirgezu badorech. Don't have roiges, don't have anger on the way. So now she says, turn the page. What does that mean? So the Gemara says, what does it mean? Al tirgezu badvar aloche. So Rashi says from the Gemara and Tainas Daf Yud, Al tisasku badvar aloche. Don't be oisek in advar aloche. Shelo tirgez lechem adorav. That if you're going to think deeply in advar aloche, turn the page. And if it's a page in the Chitas booklet, on page Shin Dalad Mem, and the first line of Rashi, Al tirgezu al tisasku badvar aloche, shelo tirgez lechem adorav. If you're going to learn deeply at Dvar Aloche, you're going to lose. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to have lunge in the road. Going to start arguing. It was your fault. It was your fault. You know what? Forget about it. I forgive you. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it in the way home. Okay. We're not learning the Rashi and the Pshuta Shel Mikra. I'm just showing you this. Rashi brings the Gemara. So in the Gemara Tainus, that's what the Gemara says. Al tirgezu badorech, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Lam Yosef L'Echav, Al tisasku b'dvar aloche. Don't be oisek in advar aloche. Shem tirgez aleichem adorech. The Bereishis Rabbah is just the opposite. Al tamidu atzchem divrei Torah. Don't stop learning. So according to the Gemara, he said stop learning. And according to the message, he said, don't stop learning. The Mefarshim say there's no machloikas. There's no machloikas. There's two ways of learning. There is learning legirisa liyuna. There is liyuna, which is very deep. Legirisa is on the surface. So the Gemara says, don't learn very deep, because you're going to be so fatift. You're going to take a right instead of a left instead of a right. You're going to have a blunja. And instead of coming to your father in 3 days, it'll take you 13 days. And I can't wait to see Daddy. So forget about it. Don't get into deep. So therefore, there's no machlokes. And the Gemara says don't go deep, and that's why it's a deal. The Gemara says bedvar aloche. If a person is to paskin aloche, you can't learn it superficially, because you have to learn it tif in order to say the aloche. Maybe you're wrong. So in order to paskin aloche, you have to learn very deep. If you're not learning a dvar aloche, you don't have to learn it so deep. That's why the Medrash says al timidat from divrei Torah. The Gemara talks about dvar aloche. Al tisasku. So really the Gemara and the Medrash are not machloikis. The Gemara is saying, don't learn liyuna. The Medrash says, learn lagirs. Beautiful. So that's what the Mefarshim say. Question is, but why is the Gemara and the Medrash saying the opposite things? If we're not arguing, why does it sound like we're arguing? So why does the Gemara says don't learn, the Medrash says do learn. But really they're saying the same thing. So say the same thing. Rebbe has a beautiful chap on this. Achakida. When we go on the road and we learn, why are we learning? Is it a din in Limud Torah or din in Halicha B'derech? There's two ways of learning it. One way of understanding it is it says in Shema, it says V'shenantum Lovanecha, V'dibarta Bam, V'shivtecha B'veisecha, V'lechtecha B'derech, V'shach B'chov Komecha, V'lechtecha B'derech. Also when you walk on the road, you have to learn Torah. There's a general mitzvah to learn Torah, not only when you sleep, not only when you wake up, not only when you're sitting at the desk, also when you're on the road. You always have to learn Torah. Good. Another way of learning it is a person is besakona. A person has to protect himself. A person is obligated to protect himself. A person knows he's going out in a cold winter night. He's obligated to put on a coat. He knows if he's walking in a place where you need shoes, he's obligated to put on shoes. But you know you're on the road and you need a spiritual protection. You make sure you go in the car. That Rebbe said, pick yachitas with you in the car. So you also have to make sure to learn. So why are we learning when we're on the road? What's the nafkamina? For this way, what's an nafkamina? Chikita has to have an nafkamina. Can't just have an nafkamina. Am I sitting on the chair? The chair is under me. What makes the tea sweet? The sugar or the spoon? What's an nafkamina? The nafkamina is like this. A person is going for business. You're obligated to learn, but you're allowed to stop in order to. The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, the man that's driving the truck, the man that's building, is operating a crane. He's not supposed to learn now. When he's driving the truck, he has to think about the directions. You're not supposed to learn now. He's supposed to drive a truck. Okay? But when a person has to plan out his business, he could stop learning and plan out his business. He has to think. You have to think about it. When should I think about it? I'm driving out to a business meeting. Should I, before I drive out, should I plan out my day? Sit there at my desk for 10 minutes, plan and think, what am I going to say at the business meeting? But when I'm on the road, I'm going to listen to Shir and Chassidus, to some latest podcasts of Fabrengen, Adaf Hayomi, Rambam, Mechitas. Or is it at the house? I'm going to sit and learn. Anywhere on the road, I'm going to think about what I'm going to say at the business meeting. So that's an afkamina. If you say that there's a general chiyuv to learn Torah, so might as well on the road think about what you're going to do at the business. But if there's a special thing when you're on the road to protect yourself by learning Torah, so another time you'll think about the business. But now you should protect yourself by learning Torah. And if you look at the poskim, if you notice something. The Alter Rebbe, when he says on the road you have to learn, the Alter Rebbe adds. It's in parentheses, actually. It means Alter Rebbe wanted to think about it the second time. He says, Shenemar v'lech t'chavaderech. It means it's a general thing that if a person learns because he's on the road, he has to still learn v'lech t'chavaderech because he's a Jew. The Shaloah says it's very important when a Yid is on the road not to forget to learn. It's very, very important. It says in the Pasuk, B'sa'alechecha tancha oischa. Why does he have to bring up it's a Pasuk in the Chumash? You have to bring out a Pasuk in Tehillim. Because could be the person's not obligated to learn. But still, when you're on the road, the Torah is going to guide you. So, based on this, we can understand the difference of the Gemara and the Medrash. The Gemara holds that there's a general thing that a Yid always has to learn. Also on the road. So he tells the brothers, he doesn't have to tell the brothers that brothers know what they have to do, what they have to not do. It's, by the way, don't learn liyuna. If you learn very deep, you're going to get lost. It's not good. Just learn Legirsa. Because it was a general thing you always have to learn. But today, learn only Legirsa.
So how come when they went first time...
One second.
You didn't say
and the second time, the Medrash says the second Mahalach, no, the Medrash holds it's a chiyuv in the going on the road to protect yourself through learning Torah. So therefore, the Medrash says, he told them, learn Legirsa. Because then you won't get lost. But again, according to Gemara, it's a general thing. Oh, Yid has to learn 24/7 his whole lifetime. He didn't have to tell him, by the way, when you're on the road, eat kosher, or have a bris milah, or act like a Jew. They know. He said, by the way, when you're on the road, don't learn liyuna, don't learn legirsa. But according to the Medrash, it was the other way around. It was a special thing for the road. Therefore, he said, make sure you learn because that's going to protect you on the road. Sorry, what were you saying?
My question is, he sent them second time.
Yeah.
With Binyamin, then he told them you have to learn and everything. How come first time when he sent them Shivulanu Ochel, bring me food, he didn't tell them learn or not learn or do anything. Only second time.
He had to keep the secret. If he's going to tell them, make sure you learn, you don't learn, they're going to say, hey, wait, what are you? I thought you were one big fat guy. You're making believe that you're a big fat guy and you're very antagonistic. What are you interested about learning or not learning? He's going to say, oh, did you chitas, your Rambam yet? Did you learn a Maimer?
No, talking about Yaakov.
We're talking about Yosef now.
Yaakov, when he sent the Shvatim to Yosef, second time, when they had the money there, then he told them. It's not Yosef telling them.
Yosef is telling them. The second time when he tells them. Yeah, Yosef says, Al tergezu baderech. So, he can't tell it to them the first time. The first time, if he's going to tell them, excuse me, fellows, I know you're learning a Tifa Maimer, but cool it. Don't go get into the Tosfos. Just do Gemara Rashi. I know you like to learn very deep Gemara Rashi, Tosfos, and the Ramban.
That's itself will make it a fact.
Yeah, that's a giveaway that he's Yosef. He's trying to act as if he's a big fat guy. He's a part of his right hand man. But now that they know that he's a brother, it says a machloikis. The Gemara says there's a general thing. He has to learn 24/7. So he said, don't learn liyuna, learn legirsa. The Medrash says no. He told him up. He said, make sure you learn on the way. That's going to be your protection.
I have another question, and it's not on the parsha. Hanukkah we read the Torah all day from the whole Shvatim, right? Two Shvatim in the Chanukah Abayit Shel HaMizbeach, therein say Levi and Yosef. They say Menashe and Ephraim, but not Yosef and Levi. Any reason for it? I went over 100 times. I couldn't find. Not Yosef.
Well, Levi complained.
Okay.
And they got the menorah.
This I know.
We read
but how about Yosef?
Oh, Yosef is Menashe and Ephraim. He got double. What should he get? Triple? He can't get triple. He get the Menashe and Ephraim means that Yosef goes in twice. Yosef, when it's Menashe and Ephraim, that means he's getting it twice. he can't get it 3 times.
Yeah, because Yaakov said, Menashe, Ephraim,
Right. So
they are my sons.
So what should they? They gave Menashe and Ephraim. That means they gave Yosef twice. What should they? They can't give him more than twice.
They give Menashe and Ephraim and Yosef as 1 unit or in 2 units.
They gave it in 2 units. That means they got double.
Menashe and Ephraim, but Yosef did not get any unit.
Yosef get. That means Yosef got double. When Yosef gets Menashe and Ephraim, that means he gets double. You know, it's double the portion he's getting. Tosfos brings in the Gemara Tainis that there is another medrash that really argues in the Gemara. There is a medrash that holds, we don't pass on that with Shachar, it's a medrash that holds that no, that a person has to learn even on the road. The Tosfos says, V'yesh medrash al tafsiku midvar alocha. Even a person should learn, I might get lost, don't worry. The Torah is going to guide you. The Torah is going to take care of you. Some poskim say that it depends if a person is driving or if he has a balagola. If you have a chauffeur, if you're a fancy person, you have a chauffeur and you're sitting in the back, learn the Dvar Alocha very deep. If you're the regular, you're a commoner like most of us, and you're driving yourself, then take it easy. Don't go so deep. You'll make a mistake, you'll make a short, you'll take a red light, you'll make the wrong turn. But the Rebbe says you could say also that it sounds that's the way it sounds like in the parsha, because after he revealed himself and he sends them with all kinds of packages, presumably he sent them with servants too. He said, "Oh, now that you have servants that are driving the wagons for you, now you can learn. Okay, Akaponim, what would be the svaras machloikis between this medrash and the Gemara? The Tosfos clearly brings a different medrash that does argue with the Gemara. The Gemara says you're not allowed to learn deep on the road, because you might make a mistake. And the Medrash says no, learn deep. So what's a pshat in this Medrash? And what's the machloikis? So the Rebbe says like this: when a person's on the road and the Torah protects a person, why does the Torah protect the Yid? Why does the Torah protect the Yid? So one way of learning it is a sichos. Torah is a sichos. The sichos that protects you. Another way is that when a person learns Torah, that we learned, those that learned Tanya today, the Alter Rebbe says, the yichud nifla she'en yichud kamoise ba'olam mamash, achodim yechodim mamash b'chol tzad upina. 2 things become mamash one is when a Jew learns Torah. When a Yid learns Torah, him and the Torah become mamash one. So him and the Eibush become mamash one. And then in the world, there's no such thing as 2 things. You glue them together, you scotch them together, you put them together, you screw them together. There are 2 things. By Yid, when I learn Torah, and I also have a kasha and a teretz, and this is the Torah, it's me, I'm thinking, but really it's the Eibish's Torah, and Torah and the Eibush is one. Me and the Eibush become mamish one. Yichud nifla. So, so how can I be in danger on the road? The Malach Mavis couldn't kill David HaMelech. The Gemara tells the story now. A person is learning Torah, no one could touch him. He's Torah and him is one. It's the Eibishter. Even the Malach HaMavis couldn't. The Malach HaMavis is a powerful guy. Even the Malach HaMavis lo yechol l'shumbay. Even the Malach HaMavis can't do anything, because that's the Alter Rebbe says the first Perek Tanya. I feel the Malach HaMavis. Malach HaMavis is a very powerful guy. He got a powerful and sharp sword. But Yid that learns Torah, nothing could. Yid is protected because he's learning Torah. So there was a story that I think someone told it once here. In the early years, in Lubavitch, there was a famous Gvir. His name was Rabbi Gerari, Zalman Gerari. Colorful, a very flamboyant, colorful fellow. He was a Talmud Chochem. He used to make always a siyum Masech, another Masech. He used to make a siyum Shas. He was married to Choshev. His wife was a daughter of Rebbe. Yeah, exactly. He was a wealthy man. And he was in the early years. He was very all the years. But the early years, he was.
He used to fund the svarim from Kahas.
Yeah,
look at the back.
Yeah, the back
till he was passed away. Everyone.
Oh, it's Zainaklach.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a famous saying in Lubavitch that he would say, "There's always a parking spot." That back in those days, he said it's 25 cents or $25, but there's always a spot. So Zalman Gerari said that he went once to the airport. On the way, he realized he forgot his passport or something. He forgot something at home that he really has to go back. He remembered there was a thing about it. Yehuda Choset said it's there. Once you go out of the house to go on the road, it's dangerous to go back home. You can't go back to your house. So,
No, you have to do something.
who went?
Yaakov went back to pick up.
Good result. Look what happened.
That wasn't home. It was on the
No.
road.
Right.
First, second of all, look what happened. Don't go back. You can't go back.
Shmulik, you have to say a pasuk.
Some do with it.
Oh,
Yeah, if you go
so
back.
he called. He went to the Rebbe's office.
Yeah.
It was the early years, or maybe the Rebbe wasn't Rebbe yet. He knocked on the door. He has a flight to catch, or a boat to catch, or whatever it is. He was going on a trip, business trip, and the Vayigash was done because he left his house, but he used to get his passport. The Rebbe said to open a Tanya and learn a Perek Tanya. Learn a Perek Tanya, become a new person. It's not the same man who left the house, a different man. Different man's going back into the house, not the same man. Then you can go back home and pick up your passport. So when a Yid learns Torah, he becomes a different person. There is a person without the Torah. A person learns Torah, he's Yichud Nifla with the Eibishter, different person.
So if you close the door and you're outside your apartment and you have to go back, you should say before you go in,
Yeah.
learn a pasuk. or
Yeah,
Mishnah or
yeah,
something.
that's what the Rebbe told us fellow.
Outside. And then
Yeah,
you could
then you go in.
Just wanna
In
get
this
it right.
case, does Tehillim qualify?
Oh, so that's the question. The question is, that's exactly the question here. If we're looking for a zechus, a person could say a kapitel Tehillim. If you're saying a person becomes a yichud nifla, one thing with the Eibishter, that's not just by saying a pasuk Tehillim. That's by understanding. When I learn something, especially with Yegiya, when I learn something and I understand it, then, because I'm thinking, right? My brain is thinking. I'm not just saying words, I'm thinking. And who is thinking? I am thinking. But what am I thinking? Torah. And what's Torah? The Eibishter. So me and the Eibishter is one. So if you would say that what's the protection when I'm traveling? The protection is the zechus of Limud Torah. Say Tehillim is also a big zechus. David the Melech said that make sure when Yid says Tehillim, it should be like if the zechus should be as if he's saying the Goyim and Ahalas. A very deep thing. Great. A big zechus. Very big zechus. But if you want to say the person is a different person, he's yichud nifla with the Eibishter, that's when someone's using his brain, not when he's saying words. The zechus, great zechus when a person says Tehillim. But to say that is a yichud nifla, me and the Eibishter are one, it's when I'm using my brain to learn Torah. If I'm not using my brain, there's not the yichud nifla that the Alter Rebbe is talking about. So therefore, it's like the Rebbe, maybe that's the machloikis between the Gemara and this Medrash that the Tosfos brings. According to the Gemara, we need a zechus. We need a zechus to be on the road to protect me. So if I say the words of the Gemara, even if I don't understand it deep, I say Tehillim, it's a zechus, good enough. But the Tosfos holds, like that brings the Medrash, no, it's not the zechus that protects me. It's a me and the Torah is one. So therefore, even the Malach HaMavos can't harm me. So this is the diuk in the lashon of the Chazal. Chazal, usually we say a person shouldn't stop learning. What kind of term do we use of not stopping to learn? Don't do what? Don't do bittul Torah. Yeah, bittul Torah. Why is it that the Chazal over here says a unusual language? That al tafsiku midvar halacha. Al tafsiku midvar halacha. Why do we say al tibotlu midivrei Torah? What's al tafsiku? When a yid learns Torah with his brain, he's a yichud nifla with the Eibishter. So he's mechuber, he's echod with the Eibishter. Al tafsiku. Don't make a hefsek between you and the Eibishter. Keep on learning gliyuna. Keep on learning and using your brain. Al tafsiku. Don't make a hefsek. Don't make a hefsek. You and the Eibishter are one. Al tafsiku is the Gemara says tafsiku. Stop, learn Torah now l'giyah. So you'll say the words even if you're not thinking deep. And it's a zechus. Even if you say Tehillim, it's a zechus. It's a zechus. That's great. You'll be protected on the road. That's what the Gemara holds. That's really the halacha. But the Medrash says no. Don't worry. The Eibishter will guide you. Don't worry about the right and the left and the red light and the green light and the purple light and the police and the cameras and the daiganisht. Don't worry. Worry about nothing. You just make sure that you're not nifsik from the Eibishter in one moment. Because when you learn Torah with your brain, tif, then you're not nifsik from the Eibishter. If you're not nifsik, don't worry, the Eibishter is going to guide you.
What about if I learn Tehillim and I say Tehillim and I read the Parish?
Well, so the truth is, the halacha really is brought in Shulchan Aruch like the Gemara, but still there is the concept. So most of us have to follow what the Gemara is saying, but still there is this thing of the Medrash that goes very deeper. Maybe for some people.
Oh wait, I don't understand. In other words, before you go into the house again, so you do this thing, whatever it is. Then you go and you get your satchel or whatever you forgot, your umbrella, and then you go to the car. So for the whole trip or wherever you go in the subway, you're protected now. In other words, I don't understand.
That's a separate thing.
But there's two separate in Yanam.
Two separate in
Yanam. Wait. If you leave the house and you want to go back, you have to learn before you go back in. So let's say you can't go in the apartment and take out a safe all the sperm in the house.
Listen. Not everything that Rabbi Yehuda Chosset says is binding for me.
No, I mean, Mr. Mus told me you could put it in the pishka, but Shabbos you can't do that. Also at night you have an Indian not to. So I want to know how to do this thing.
Me and you.
It happens to me via more that I have to go back. You know.
Okay, so say a pasuk Tehillim
before you go in.
Before you go in.
Okay.
Now we're talking a different thing.
Now this is something else. This is Altergaz Ubadar.
While you're on the road, so the Gemara holds, and that's the halacha.
Yeah.
That you're not allowed to learn very deep, because then you're gonna speed. You're gonna have an accident.
Even in those days with the donkeys and all that.
You'll have an accident. Don't learn just very superficial.
No problem.
Learn very superficial.
No
The
problem.
Medrash says.
Hey, stuff. You don't have to learn anything. You could just try. But if you want to learn, don't get into it too much.
Yeah,
Right.
Learn.
Right.
Excellent.
What?
Excellent. Excellent.
What?
That's what you have to do. Listen to shir, say some words. That's good enough. But the Medrash, which is not the halacha, says no. A yid should learn. Altav should learn very deep.
There's a truck driver in Israel, Sfari, that he said, so many of my friends on the road, we're talking Narishkeit on the radio and this. So he made a CD, Tehillim. But not just get like singing and shir a lot like a song.
And he says Tehillim.
As you drive, you could share Tehillim with all your friends. And they sit together, the whole Tehillim constantly.
They have it. They play it. Nishvekan gedacht the Syrian Jews, like in the hospital, it's a loop. It's all Sefer Tehillim. So if you're sitting there, you could say along.
Together,
by Chayla, they have it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's a good idea.
Very nice.
There's two types. Well, there's two types of bittul Torah. One is the type of bittul Torah when not. Other one is the level of learning too, is also.
Even if you learn, but you're not learning deep, so it's already bittul Torah.
Where's this lashon? Volutzian, right?
No, this is in Yakum Torkan Min Shemai.
Right. Yakum Torkan.
Like
Also
the Tanya, also that's the way the Tanya.
La pasuk pum the Mikir.
Right. But the Rebbe's word, the loy pasuk, is when a person learns tif, he's ba'achtas with the Eibishter. He's nish nifsek.
The Tanya, what that says, the Tanya says, when it explains what you just said over here.
It's like Dilo Yivsek, Dilo
Yifta. What learning Gemara, why learning Torah, why you're not, you take a Masafta for your test Kislev. Right, you can't just I have to be yaitz. You can't just read it out. And for Gemara, you have your mind. You have to be totally arangatun in the machshava what you're learning. It's not till me to just say. And that's why
it's different that way.
That's what Gemara.
That's a kind of just saying the mikvah.
Yeah. The Rebbe says, what's one more nekuda? Yosef was telling his brothers, they're now going into Golus. Really, what's happening? The Jews are coming to Egypt. They're going to Golus, right? So what's the protection, the best way a Yid could protect himself when he's going into Golus? You don't want to be a slave. How could you make sure in this world, in the United States of America, you're not a slave to the dollar, a slave to the taxman, a slave to your boss, a slave to society? Person that learns Torah, makes time to learn Torah every night, every day, is a free man. So now that you're going, Rachmana Latzlan, that was the Gzeira, the Yidden have to come down to Egypt, And he knew the Jews, L'chu Ridu Shama, Yaakov Avinu said there was a Nevuah, that they're going to be there for 210 years. Yosef said, you know what's going to protect us? If we learn Torah. If we learn Torah, we're going to be free people. That's why now when they're going up to Eretz Yisrael to bring the families down, he told them this thing, Al tafsiku, don't be nifsek from the Eibishter. If you're going to learn Torah, you won't be nifsek from the Eibishter. And then you'll be free people. That's why you find also when as soon as Yaakov heard the good news that Yosef was alive, the first thing he dispatched Yehuda, Ves Yehuda shalach lefonav Goishna, to make a base of Talmud sheshvotim hoigim b'Torah, Yegiya b'Torah. What do we say about Mashiach Tzidkenu? One of the qualities of Mashiach. Hoige b'Torah. Hoige b'Torah. Why lo hoige b'Torah? Lo b'Torah. No, because that's the Inyan. When a person learns Torah in the way of Yegiya, so he's not nifsek from the Eibishter. He's yichud niflo with the Eibishter. So therefore, Tanai for Mashiach is hoige b'Torah. I'm not saying a pshat in the Sikha now, but I want to tell you something. I saw this years ago, 3 pictures, but there is a book that someone put out a couple of, I don't know, maybe a year ago. Someone in Israel, his name is Ruderman, terrific writer, Zama Reutimann. He writes for many of the Israeli magazines, and he's a storyteller, a master storyteller. He's a Lubavitcher. He wrote a book, biography of the Rebbe, all these silly biographies, and they had a couple of years, Dr. So-and-so, and this one, very nice. But for a Ben Torah, if you want to give a Ben Torah biography from the Rebbe, he put out a book called Chad Bedora.
Oh, Hebrew. I lost in college.
I just bought the book. I could see already. I read it a little bit. I'm going to like this book.
It's not made for Lubavitcher, necessarily Lubavitcher Hasidim.
Doesn't matter. I know matter. The other one's also not made for Lubavitcher, so I didn't like that.
No, but this is it. Right, he knew when he had it for Bregan, he said, Rabbi Yafi's son-in-law, he said, you shouldn't, Lubavitcher Chazit shouldn't read this.
I'm going to read it, and I see already I'm going to
No, not yours. Those,
oh, the other books.
The other book. He says, each one gave me one for free and interviewed me. I have them sitting there. I would never look at
But this book is very nice. Even the name, if you think about it. You know, he didn't want to say, you know, today there's people, they love to make, he's the Godel Hador, he's the Poisek Hador, he's the Nos. Chad Badora, you can't argue with Chad Badora. Chad Badora means unique, one in a generation. He's not giving titles to my Rebbe. He's the Poisek Hador, the Nossi Hador, the Godel Hador, the Mekarev Hador. I'm not giving any. Zokin Hador, Rosh Yeshiva Hador. I'm not giving titles. I'm a chossid. I'm writing about my Rebbe, and terrific book. Really, if you want. For a yeshiva light or from Yid wants to understand a little bit about the Rebbe's Mahalach, it's a terrific book. Also, terrific collection of pictures. A lot of times, the people they collection of pictures. They're not even on the cover. They put pictures here in the cover. They have a picture of the Rebbe in the middle of saying Yom but his eyes are closed, and you see the intensity. It's like wow. Kula, you see the Yegiya B'Torah. You see the intensity. You see the muscles in the face that are coming out. It's like you see the Moededike Yegiya. 3 pictures in the back of the book. They're mamish terrific. You got to see it. There's 3. They took 3 pictures the Rebbe was learning, and they took it. Wow, chutzpah! Someone took it through the keyhole.
Through the window.
Yeah, 3 pictures. Moededik. You saw those pictures? One is the Rebbe's eyes are closed. You think he's holding a cigarette, but he's not. He's holding a pencil. The Rebbe's holding a pencil, and his hands are like this. And he's thinking about something. His eyes are closed. And you can see very clear the Rebbe's with his suspenders, with his white shirt, short sleeves, and his pants are up like this, you know. And the Rebbe's thinking. And his glasses are on. And the Rebbe's thinking. He's thinking with a pencil. He's now thinking of Inyan Tif, and he's thinking. Second picture is... again, with the Rebbe with his suspenders and the glasses, and again, he's thinking about something. A third picture, he's standing by a stender, and you can almost hear the Rebbe learning. Oh, Rabbi, you know, you can see the Rebbe's like enjoying it. The other 2 is like very intense. Eyes are closed. You can see the veins, like the Rebbe's thinking, and it's trying to figure something out.
Who's the author?
Zama Reutimann. Terrific writer. He writes in all the Israeli papers.
They have it next door if you want. If they still have.
Third, look for the 3 pictures.
Who's the publisher?
I think he published it in his
the
own.
bookstore?
I don't know. Not Gahaz.
It's in Hebrew.
Not Gahaz. It's in Hebrew.
But the pictures-
Beautiful book.
the pictures
He's a
are-
terrific writer in Hebrew. He writes Chad Bedora. Tiknez. Ze mamash kedai. The pictures alone are kedai. But the story, he's a master storyteller. He wrote many books. He wrote 3 books. Lately, I think he writes in Shatova or one of these magazines. He writes a weekly column, Sepurei Tzadikim, all Sepurim from Chabad, from Polish Chassidim, from Misnagdim, from Chassidim, from Litvish, from Sfaradim, Ashkenazim. He picks rotates different Tzadikim. Beautiful stories. He has, I think, 3 volumes. Ben Dogim Lizmirus is his name, a book that he published a few years ago. He's a terrific writer. These 3 pictures, think about that. Look at them and you'll see. Hoige betoyre. What's the gewalt? Why is it that Mashiach has to be hoige betoyre? It's loy betoyre. It has to be a lamden. That's not the point. The point is that that's what the words of Yosef was, according to the deeper pshat, the medrash, halacha. He said, al tafsiku means fakert. He said, don't learn too deep. Learn shallow on the road so you don't make a mistake, right, left. You won't get into danger. But the medrash zaktois was aktifer. Al tifsaku. A yid should never be nifsek from the Eibishter. When a yid is hoige betoyre, when a yid learns Torah b'yegiya, I'm thinking, I'm using my brain, but it's me. But really, Torah is Eibishter. Me and the Eibishter becomes a yichud nifla. So Yosef said, when you're going into Golus, and you don't want to be in servitude to the nations of the world, you don't want to be a servitude to society, you don't want to be a servant to Golus. So the Eitzah is, Al tirgezu badorech, al tafsiku. Don't be nifsik from the Eibishter. Keep on learning Torah b'yegiya. And in that schus, we are rezoicha, the Yidden are going to go out of Golus, going from Zeis Chanukah, the Eibishter zal helfen, that we should all be yegeya b'Torah, we should be not nifsik from the Eibishter, and in that schus, that we should go out of this fablonja to Golus, out of this derech. We should get out of this derech, and we should go on to the derech HaMelech, to Yerushalayim Yirakodesh.